If you don't get together, you're going to lose your property rights.
It's my property. I should be able to do what I want to with it.
Where we've had projects that have failed to launch, but the expropriation has gone ahead.
We don't need it, we can't afford it, and it's just a bad idea.
For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini here in Cobourg, Ontario for the Ontario Landowners Association General Meeting here at the Cobourg Legion. Today's top of mind topics are the Alto high-speed rail, and specifically when it comes to the expropriation of private property for that Liberal $90 billion mega project. Another top of mind topic is UNDRIP and the implications that has on private property, land title, and what our British Columbia correspondent Drea Humphrey often calls Indigenous land overreach. And so we'll hear from a list of the speakers, take in some of the thoughts of the attendees and what they think about the current state of affairs here in Canada, specifically Ontario, and when it comes to various issues within municipalities and private property protections. Let's head in.
We have Rebel News here today. Thank you very much, Rebel News, for coming.
From what I've heard from my constituents and even reporters, I don't know what we're going here today, is that Alto, who are the promoters of the high-speed rail, have not been the most transparent.
I've seen recently more and more home and landowners are receiving mail from Alto that they are expected to come onto these people's properties and conduct their surveys. What is your message for homeowners and landowners facing those letters right now in real time?
At this point in time, there is no law that requires property owners to allow anyone onto their property with respect to Alto. I have heard that contracts are being offered up to $1,500 so that Alto can come onto their property in a 3-year period to do searches, soil, and so on. I'm saying the second you allow Alto onto your property rights are going away.
Alto has done a very poor job in communicating exactly where the route will be, what the impact will be, where the crossings will be. If I'm a landowner along there, I'm rightfully concerned, and partially because I just haven't received any information from Alto. So if Alto wants access, they at the very least owe a duty of communication to the residents.
Our farm is sort of in the center of the southern route, they call, and we go to the north to a small town, which seems like it might not be in there, so now to get groceries, whatever, we've got to go further.
It is kind of scary for landowners along the proposed route because their farmlands could be expropriated, and it's not a matter of whether they'd be treated fairly or not. We would like to think they would be. It's more a matter of, it's just a plain bad idea in so many ways.
Everybody should be checking to see on their property if they have a Crown Land Patent Grant, and then get it. And then you need to do your title search to make sure that the rights that first settler acquired were not sold off.
I would encourage anyone who's concerned about the Alto, check out Ontario Landowners website, find out a chapter near you, or you can start a more local one if you like, and get involved. And collectively, it's up to us to advocate on behalf of our rights, because they're not doing that in Parliament all the time.
With high-speed rail, because of the speed that train is going at, you cannot have an overland crossing, which means you either have to go over or under. Each one of those crossings will cost millions, if not tens of millions of dollars. For this trade-off, for this $90 billion, what are we getting here? And we're just not hearing any communication. And as I said publicly, and was expressed in the meeting today, like that $90 billion is just the money they're throwing out at very early days.
So if I want to go to Ottawa on the train, I drive to Peterborough first, get on the train, go to Ottawa, and get off the train and go where I want to go, back on the train. So I may as well just drive into Ottawa.
These are aggressive new things, but they're a very limited one because this strip is this little strip along the St. Lawrence, that's going to be affected by the train. But it is a very aggressive move, and I think it's beatable.
It would cost $8,000 per household, I think is the numbers we heard today, to build this train in eastern Canada. I can't imagine Western Canadians being very happy about that, or any of most Canadians who will never ride on this train if it does get built. So it's just such a bad idea in so many ways, and just needs to not happen.
It's my property. I should be able to do what I want to with it.
You're going to come and take land that we don't want you to take. We don't need a $90 billion plus fiasco of going and expropriating land that you don't need.
How can we justify this to especially folks who are maybe in Vancouver, that they're going to have to shill out $8,000 per household for a train they may never use?
It really, to me, seems like there's no recourse and you just have to lay back and take it.
That's pretty well right. I think it's just reaffirming what we've already heard. I've been to some of the open houses, and they're all scripted replies, like they're general right down the middle of the road. You can't corner them. They won't admit to anything. And one says, well, they haven't got any plans, and the other says, yes, we're going to start in 4 years.
There was a landowner magazine dating back to 2018.
Yes.
And so there's some advertisements from your campaign in here. But in this magazine, it's plans for a high-speed rail. Almost 10 years ago with Alto and the expropriation and the boondoggle and the filibustering of accountability, except the only difference was this was provincial government and now it's federal.
Right.
In your experience in politics, and especially over the last decade, it's funny how things change but kind of stay the same.
Well, it is. So that train didn't go anywhere. It didn't pass and never got built. So that's the train that just never happened. So here we are talking about another train with Mr. Carney and the Alto Company, I guess they're going to call it. And most of us here at this meeting with the Ontario Landowners Association today here in Cobourg are hoping and feeling that this train shouldn't go anywhere either.
We've now learned that Finance Minister Champagne's wife or spouse, his partner, is the vice president of Alto's environmental division.
Well, look at the main two companies that are looking after it. They used to be SNC-Lavalin, which should need no explanation why that is bad taste in your mouth.
If you share our leaders' opposition to the Alto, I highly recommend you get engaged, get organized, and so that we can help push this $90 billion boondoggle off until we can have Pierre Poilievre as Prime Minister and cancel it for good.
I think Mr. Carney's trying real hard to look good on the world scene with maybe his new world order, and maybe this train would be part of that new world order.
Sets us up well for the new world order.
And I hope the train goes where the new world order goes, and that's nowhere.
Make it clear that if a politician won't come out against Alto, they won't get your vote.
They want us to reject this colonialism, which is our Constitution, all our legislative acts. They don't respect it, so they want to ignore it. And aren't we sort of seeing that right now with Carney?
One other major issue that you're talking about here today is going to be UNDRIP, the United Nations Declarations of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and especially what we see happening in British Columbia, where landowners, property owners are being essentially railroaded by these treaty rights and Indigenous communities and bands coming in and saying, no, we actually have title to this. It is causing sweeping uproar in British Columbia, and many speculate Ontario's next. So it sounds like you're perhaps trying to get ahead of that curve by talking about this issue now?
Absolutely. Donna Burns, Vice President of Eastern Ontario and the President of the Renfrew Landowners, she's our number one person in Indigenous rights with respect to treaties in Ontario. And we're finding that some of the municipalities that at the beginning of their meetings, they'll say unseceded, unsurrendered, seceded, and so on. And we're finding, wait a minute, that municipality is in an area where the property has been transferred from First Nations and to the Crown.
These treaties were not, they were created. There was an agreement. It wasn't stolen land.
If you're taking away the authority of colonialism and the Crown, we don't really have anything protecting our rights. That's the whole foundation of our property rights. It comes from the Crown. So to disregard that is just everything crumbles because it all comes from that.
Really part of the attack on Western Christian democracies, I'd say. Our ancestors all fought very hard for this country in wars and in parliaments over centuries.
They imply one thing, and they are teaching it in our schools with the children and with these land acknowledgements. And I think the purpose is to make them feel like they're living on stolen land.
We have a Crown Land Patent Grant, and we know that that's a powerful document from the King of England, and we're standing by that. That's the proof that we own our land. And now the Indian folks, have treaties, and we should stand by the treaties and give them what the treaties say they deserve. We have no problem with that at all.
The OLA's got tons of resources to kind of guide you. There's been reports on these issues as maybe a starting point. And for, getting involved and pushing back, Ontario municipal elections are coming up in October, and May 1st is nomination time.
What we don't know, we won't question. And this is how they imply certain things to give the idea that they have the authority to regulate and control us without looking at the legislation.
Canada has been sound asleep, as she pointed out today. She didn't say that exactly. Since Confederation, we don't pay attention. The actual people don't pay attention. Today, in the room, everybody was paying attention. Their eyes were popping out of their heads.
We're stumbling as a nation. We're going with all these woke ideas, United Nations, World Economic Forum, and all these things that are so anti-freedom, anti-justice.
It's like planting a tree. We have to make that intention now and keep planning and moving and pushing forward, and eventually the grass will grow and it'll grow higher than the bureaucrats.
Let's hope. Well, thanks so much, Dieter, for your time. This is a great event, and I look forward to coming to more.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. All right. For Rebel News in Cobourg, Ontario, that's a wrap. I'm Tamara Ugolini. If you appreciate that Rebel News gets their boots on the ground and comes out to cover events like this, please consider supporting our journalism at rebelfieldreports.com. That's rebelfieldreports.com.